وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس وما يعقلها إلا العالمون.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Insha'Allah ta'ala, we want to speak about a parable from the Qur'an, an example, a method that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us in the Qur'an. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us many parables and many examples for us to ponder over. And the one that insha'Allah ta'ala we want to speak about are those who do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and try to do things, that they may perceive to be good, or acquire things that they may perceive to be good, but in reality don't even help them in the akhirah at all. So inshallah ta'ala, we want to try to speak about that, and then inshallah ta'ala try to break down some of the benefits of the ayah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Qur'an, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed those who do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. That they will not, their wealth will not avail them, and their children will not avail them, will not help them, will not enrich them, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any way at all. They will fail. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say, وَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. And they are those people, they are the dwellers of the hellfire, هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. They'll be there forever. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say, مثل ما ينفقون في هذه الحياة الدنيا كمثل ريح فيها صر أصابت حرث قوم ظلموا أنفسهم فأهلكت وما ظلمهم الله ولكن أنفسهم يظلمون. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say that the example of the one, or the example of that which is spent in the way of this dunya, in the way of this dunya by those who disbelieve, is like a wind, فيها سر كمثل ريح فيها سر, like a wind, like an icy wind, like a wind which is ice, it's a very cold wind, أصابت حرث قوم ظلموا أنفسهم. It affects and it goes upon and affects the agriculture of those who disbelieve. So it causes and spoils the crops. For example, some crops, they need a particular kind of weather to thrive and to grow, and they need they need a particular season for to flourish, and to sow. So, for example, there's some seeds that you plant them at a particular time of the year, but they only come to fruition in summer, for example. Imagine in summer now, a cold wind comes and lasts maybe a few days or a few hours, and it totally freezes all those plants and makes them and renders them unable to actually come to fruition. It's as if that farmer now has lost everything. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ فَأَهْلَكَتْ. It's like the plants, the agriculture of those who have oppressed themselves, and now their plants have been destroyed. وَمَا ظَلَهُمُ اللَّهُ وَلَكِنْ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not oppress them. No, it is they who oppress themselves. So what can we actually benefit from this parable of the person who doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and obviously, tries to spend, but that spending doesn't avail him? So this person now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about a person who he doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of his money is in the hayat dunya. It's in the sinning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's in shahawat, it's in shubuhat, it's in all kind of things. All things which are not in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, simply for pleasure, simply for, if you like, things which shouldn't be done. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that kind of spending is the spending which is it's like that of, like I said, spoiled crops that have been affected by the cold. What can we benefit from this? Number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed those who do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. That those who disbelieve, their wealth and their children will not avail them. لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ. It won't enrich them, it won't help them against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions two types of wealth. He says, لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُم. So their wealth will not be, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions two types of things which human beings consider to be valuable. He says, لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُم. That the amwal, their wealth will not help them against Allah. وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُم. And neither their children. Okay? Why is that important? It's important because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has specified that these are some of the things that are the beauties and splendors of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-malu wal-banunu zinatul hayati dunya. That al-mal, wealth, and banun, children, offspring, are zinatul hayati dunya. It's the beauty of the dunya. Okay? And that's because if a person has wealth, okay, al-mal يوسع الضيق. Al-mal, wealth, it makes a person's living easier. It gives them breathing space. It gives them a capacity to do things. And that's why even in the Arabic language, if a person becomes rich or something, you can describe them as, وَسَّعَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made things easy for him, has made things wide. The word وَسَّعَ يُوَسِّعُ means something which is wide and expansive. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Arabic language, when someone's been given wealth, it's as if they've been given something which is wide and expansive. You have a freedom to do certain things. You have the leisure to go on a holiday. You have the leisure to not have to do, to not clean toilets or something like that. You kind of understand. This is the benefit of wealth. It gives you the ability to not do things that you don't want to do. And then conversely, Allah spoke about, He said that the wealth will help them. And conversely, just to understand the importance of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying and what wealth means to Bani Adam, look at poverty. If we look at poverty, for example, الفقر يضيق الواسع. It does the opposite. Poverty has the opposite effect of wealth. يضيق الواسع. It makes a person, it makes that which is wide and expansive, like this dunya. This dunya is wide and expansive. Siru fil-Ard, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us, traverse the earth. But when so the world is wide and expansive. But when a person has poverty, هذا الفقر يضيق الواسع. It makes that which is wide, the dunya that will even feel like you're trapped. A person who is poor is unable to do many things. He's unable sometimes to pursue his dreams. He's unable to do what he wants to do. He has to do what he's told when he's told, because he's impoverished to a certain degree. Okay? And that's why a person who has experienced poverty will tell you that it's almost as if a person is being shackled in chains. You can't do anything. You're ajiz. You're totally unable to do anything. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the wealth of a person will not help them on Yawm al-Qiyamah, that's because wealth is deemed as something valuable. But we're going to get to another benefit of wealth, inshaAllah ta'ala. And then he goes on to say, وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. And even their children won't help them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even the children of a person won't help. Now, why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying children? We know because Allah said, الْمَالُ وَالْبَنُونُ زِينَةُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. That wealth and offspring, that's what brings happiness to a person. And if a person hasn't had children, they won't know the joy that a child brings to you. And that a person can gain a lot of pleasure from their child and the achievements of their child and raising their child and the child being successful. So even a child can sometimes have monetary value for a person. But there's something which is even more important. that I wanted to even specify in this ayah, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning al-mal wal-awlad, wealth and children. And that thing is this: if you look at the nusus of the Sharia, if you look at the adilla of the Sharia, the dalil if you look at the what do you call it, the Islamic evidences, what are some of the things that can take a person into Al-Jannah? Wealth and children. Wealth and children can take a person to Al-Jannah. You have the famous hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he speaks about that the book or the actions of a person of one of the children of Adam stops when he dies, except for what? Sadaqatun jariyah. Wealth that sadaqah that continues to flow after that person has died. Sadaqatun jariyah. And you need wealth to do that. And what's another thing in the same hadith? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us? He says, and what does the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tell us in that hadith? He says, وَلَدٌ صَالِحْ يَدْعُو لَهُ. وَلَدٌ صَالِحْ يَدْعُو لَهُ. A pious son who makes dua for his father, for example. This is a what do you call it? This is something that can help you after you die. So if a person gives birth to a pious child and raises that child upon al-Islam, okay, raises that person upon Islam, then that child can be a source of them getting good deeds even after they've died, that person. Okay. So these two things that can take a person into Al-Jannah or give a person a higher level of reward on Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now telling us even these two things which may help a Muslim, they will not be able to help a non-Muslim. لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. These two things will not help a person against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Yawm al-Qiyamah. Okay? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about those things that people spend in the way of their desires, in way of haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that it's like a rih. It is like a rih. It is like a wind, a very cold wind that affects livestock, okay, and doesn't help them at all. So their actions will not help them in terms of that which they spend on Yawm al-Qiyamah, because one of the things a person will be asked about on Yawm al-Qiyamah is their wealth and how they used it. Their wealth and how they used it. So if a person doesn't use their wealth in that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with, then on Yawm al-Qiyamah, that thing is not going to help them whatsoever. In fact, it may be a cause of punishment. So, Allah tells us that those things that those people do will not help them, and neither will their children or their wealth help them. I.e., the things that they spend on from their wealth will not help them, and neither will their children. Okay? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of the ayah, He goes on to say, وَمَا ظَلَهُمُ اللَّهُ وَلَكِنْ أَنفُسُهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not oppress them, rather they are the ones who oppress themselves. We learn in this ayah a very important thing. We learn in this ayah that this ayah has an indication فيها الدلالة على أن الإنسان له اختيار. The ayah has within it a clear indication that human beings have free will. Human beings have free will. Because Allah says that Allah has not oppressed them, rather they have oppressed themselves. Meaning that these people have chosen to fall into this haram. These people have chosen to do these bad deeds. These people have chosen, disbelief over belief. And therefore they're in this position. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of blame because He's given every single person free will. He's given every single person free will. And because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from blame. Had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us without any free will whatsoever, then a person could blame and say, I am majburun ala dhalik. I'm forced. Which is basically what a group of Muslims known as the Jabariyya, they say, that a person has no choice but to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to do, and a person's forced to do that. No, a person has free will. A person has free will. And the Prophet ﷺ said that to his companions, all of you will go to Al-Jannah except for the one who refuses. They said, Ya Rasulullah, how come we refuse Al-Jannah? And the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, اعملوا فكل ميسر أو اعملوا فكل ميسر لما خلق له. Do good deeds because every single person will do good deeds which are easy for him. Will do deeds which are easy for him. Meaning, if you're from the people of the hellfire, then the actions of the people of the hellfire will be easy for you. And conversely, if you're a person from, inshaAllah ta'ala, from Al-Jannah, then the actions of the people of Al-Jannah will be easy for you. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make things easier for us, and to bless us, and to give us understanding and tawfiq and hidayah and irshad. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the people of Al-Jannah. نكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.